Dear friends, hello everyone, it's me again, TheDeinekoArtem, and in today's video, we will have a review of the new Minecraft snapshot 25W18A, which takes us to Minecraft version 1.21.6. In this snapshot, some crafts were changed, which we will talk about in today's video. In general, this is a technical change, which still has some interesting updates. Therefore, before starting this video, do not forget to like, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell. Well, we move on to our video. Let's go! The very first change concerns piglins. Now, when you trade with piglins, with a certain, very small chance, you can get a petrified ghast. That is, you find piglins, trade gold with them, and you can get a dried-up ghast like this. This is what it looks like. Cool! And accordingly, I have a command block in which we have randomly spawned loot, resources that can drop when trading with a piglin. For example, I have a lever, I pull it, and now, for example, 3 seconds have passed, and we can see what resources we got. This is what a piglin can drop when you trade with it. For example, netherite brick, soul sand. Nothing has changed. The most important change is the dried up ghast. Now you can find it either near the bones in hell or craft it. By the way, the crafting was changed in this snapshot, which we will talk about a little later. And now you can also get it from a trade, from a piglin. That is, when you trade with it. Let me, for example, put a regular command block in this command block so that it is not cyclical, but a regular one. And, for example, from the first trade we got, what is it? A netherite brick? Well, not interesting. Now we got leather, 4 pieces, and in this way, with a very small chance, when you trade with these piglins, you will get a petrified ghast. Let's see if we got it or not. But I want to draw your attention to the fact that the chance is very small. And this is actually strange, because the crafting of this petrified ghast itself, let's say, is not the easiest, but quite easy. And you can also find it quite easily in hell, because it spawns almost everywhere near the bones. Well, the fact that the chance is still so small is somehow strange. Come on, MC Pat, poke around. Please show the viewers what can actually drop. These resources drop, and now, you see, he got a dried ghast, but with a small, very small chance. Now, when we hover over this dried ghast or look at its name, it is now underlined and highlighted not in yellow as before, but in white. That is, Mojang has now removed the yellow color, which means that the dried ghast is no longer some rare or unusual item. But now it is just an ordinary dried ghast that you can craft, find, or trade with piglins. So now it's not a rare item. Just like other items, leather, obsidian, dried ghast is just underlined in white. And as for the new craft for petrified ghast, it's crafted the same way as before, from ghast tiers, but now we put soul sand in the middle instead of a bone block, which you can again find in hell without any problems and craft yourself a petrified ghast like this. Let me take, for example, a workbench and put it somewhere, like here, for example. I'll take ghast tiers, take soul sand and put it like this, and you can notice that yes, indeed, we have a dried ghast. That's how it all works, friends. And now you don't need any bones or other resources. In fact, I don't know if most players will like the change to the petrified ghast craft or not. Well, what many Minecraft players liked was the new craft for leashes. To craft leashes, they remove the slime. You don't need the slime anymore. You don't have to go to the swamp, look for slimes, kill them, because slimes spawn very rarely in the swamp, and only at a certain moment. And now you only need 5 threads. That is, we simply put 4 threads as follows, and put another thread at the bottom, and you get as many as 2 leashes. Well, actually, for such crafting, I would make it so that you could get 1 leash. It would be more logical. And so 2 leashes for 5 threads is some kind of imbalance, because in previous versions you had to look for slime, build, for example, slime farms. And now just, if you play on Minecraft version 1.22 and so on, then you put 5 threads like this and get a leash. That is, before this item was just rare, unusual. You had to look for it for a long time, craft it for a long time, or knock it out of merchants when they were leading llamas. And only then you could get these leashes and already lead your animals and so on. And now they just made such an imbalance, as I think, and now you can craft a leash from 5 threads. As for potions now, also an important change in this snapshot. Now the power of explosive potions depends on the distance of the player's hitbox. Here we have an explosive regeneration potion, for example. Let me go into survival mode. Let me even give myself more of these potions. For example, I'll also give potions for MC Pat. I'll go into survival mode and a regular explosive regeneration potion. Oh wait, I took the wrong potion. Let's take, for example, a regeneration potion. It will be much better to demonstrate all this on regeneration. By default, a level 2 regeneration potion gives 22 seconds. Let's drop MC Pat a little, throw it to myself. Oh, and I'll immediately take milk for myself, so that I can demonstrate all this easier. I took milk and, for example, I go into survival mode, throw a regeneration potion to myself. It gives us 22 seconds. Previously, if you, for example, threw this potion from above, then you would have fewer seconds to regenerate. If they threw it under themselves, it would be more. Now it's changed, and for example, if, MC Pat, throw, for example, a potion somewhere here, I'll be right here. The potion didn't hit me completely and didn't count at all. If MC Pat throws the potion like this, it also doesn't count. And if he throws it right at me, well, hit me right at me. Throw a regeneration potion, right at me, perfectly at me. Here for 22 seconds. And if MC Pat, for example, threw a regeneration potion near me, well, for example, on this block, and I was here, then it wouldn't count for us. Or it would count with some small percentage. For example, not 100%, but it would be 30% or 40%. That is, now the potion's strength depends on how accurately you hit the player's hitbox. This makes the game a little more difficult, but on the other hand, more interesting, because you need to aim more accurately. That is, now the potion's strength depends on the hitbox. Again, let me remind you, earlier if you, for example, threw a regeneration potion at yourself from above or some other timed potion, then you would have less time for this potion to last. The strangest thing that was changed in this snapshot 25W18A is that they added Unicode 16.0.3 for the signs. But the strangest thing for me is that the developers went and broke the signs. Now, if we switch to creative mode, take some tables, we won't be able to write any text on them at all. Now I'm writing some text in English. Nothing works. I'm writing in Russian. Nothing works. I'm writing some numbers. Nothing works at all. That is, the developers just went and ruined the tables. Of course, I hope that they'll quickly fix this bug in the next snapshot, but in short, they wanted to implement Unicode 16.0.3. What does Unicode mean? That is, we can now use various symbols, for example, mathematical ones, write equations on tables, use roots, multiplications, well, exactly those that go with a cross and not an asterisk. I think you understand that multiplication is not with an asterisk, but with a cross, but somehow the developers just broke the signs. Now we can't write anything on them, add anything. Now the signs are just empty things. That's why we had to add display texts with NCPAT, which show all this. If we take, for example, hanging signs, then, accordingly, we can't write anything on them either. And what's most interesting is that now, if we take a book with a pen, we can control the book's interface using the Tab key. For example, before you had to take the mouse in your hand and control, say, writing a text. To switch further, you had to click on the button with the mouse, like this, and switch between pages. Now, you can easily do this using Tab. That is, my mouse is here, I don't touch it, I press Tab and switch like this. For example, to sign, I press Enter. Signed, press Tab, Enter. That's it. Great, the book is signed. And this is how it works. We can switch between buttons using Tab. Here, create many pages. Why this wasn't added to Minecraft before? I don't know. It's strange, but now it's added, and it works. Let's launch MC Pat into space. He flew away somewhere, but I hope you'll come back to us. By the way, MC Pat teleported to coordinates 1522, and we are at coordinates 1177. That is, consider that MC Pat flew away about 345 blocks. Something like that, plus or minus. I'm not very good at math, but in short, about 345 blocks. Dear friends, here is a small technical change in Snapshot 25W18A. Be sure to like, subscribe to my channel, click the bell if you haven't done so. It was me, TheDeinekoArtem, and my friends MC Pat. Thank you all for watching. Good luck to everyone. Bye-bye to everyone, friends.